Sony Pictures has offered to sell Spider-Man back to Disney and Marvel. They want nothing to do with Spider-Man, and this is apparently due to massive missteps, but also the fact that they just can't figure films out anymore. They seem to be the only studio that's making every possible wrong mistake. So let's talk about what's going on and how this could happen over the next couple of years. I think there's one thing we can all agree upon when it comes to Sony, and that's that when it comes to live action, they have fumbled the bag every single step of the way since Spider-Man 2. Yes, I'm talking about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Now look, I get it. There's people like me who genuinely like The Amazing Spider-Man 1. There's some people that love it. There's people that love The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But when we look at everything, and the way that we see things and the way that they played out, we can tell that those franchises were over for a reason. And that they ended and that Marvel Studios stepped in, took Spider-Man, and we're now getting the most profitable Spider-Man and the most profits that he's ever made, thanks to this synergy that they have with Marvel Studios. So Sony realizes that they fumbled. But not only that, outside of just Spider-Man, they also fumbled the bag badly with multiple other characters. Madam Web was a disaster. The other properties, such as Craven, was another disaster. Morbius, need we say more? And then you have Venom. Started off strong, but every single film was diminishing returns and far less fanfare, to the point where once they hit digital and physical, sales dropped by upwards of 50% on each with each subsequent entry. Even Venom showed that he could be damaged. So Sony, we know, has effectively thrown in the towel. They are out of the Spider-Man without Spider-Man game. They're still trying on TV. They got the Spider-Verse projects, but those will soon be ending. So what are they going to do? Well, they want to sell Spider-Man back to Marvel and Disney. So let's be clear about this. Right now, this is still rumors, and if something happens, it will be in the next couple of years. But if Sony can't produce live-action Spider-Man films because of their deal with Marvel Studios, because they're both co-financing, getting a back end of the box office, I mean, Sony has signed that deal. So what are they left with? They're left with a full catalog of Spider-Man characters that will not make money because they've already exhausted Venom, and that's going to go downhill. They're going to do animated stuff, which is fine, but the real value in Spider-Man is live action. And once again, if live action is co-financed and they don't make all the money back, then what's the point of sitting on it when you can sell it for a lump sum? Now, previously, we heard they want something like $8 to $10 billion, and we know that that's out of the question. So, as Sony finds themselves obviously surrounded by conglomerates and buyouts, we know that they were interested in partnering to try to save themselves to buy some of the other studios that have been sold out or sold to others like WB, or Paramount, or whatever, but they could never succeed. Their time is ticking, and most people believe eventually they will join one of these. But why not buy yourself time and buy the only division in your company time that's making massive profits? PlayStation. So Sony has allegedly started to draft a plan, a realistic plan, to sell Spidey back to Disney. Now, what would this plan consist of? Well, my guess, and the reports are claiming the same, is that essentially it's a straight up deal. Hey, take Spider-Man off our hands for a sum of money and we're out. Now, would this affect the video games? Probably not. That's a completely different license deal that's dealt with through Marvel Entertainment and Marvel Games and Sony. That has no bearing on the films. Bar none. I can confirm this. I know people. Those are unrelated. But think about the bigger picture. They would still have Spider-Man locked in for their consoles, making money, spending money, and making pure profit, while the films are then handled by Disney and they don't have to worry. Now you're probably wondering, what is in this for Sony? So they just get what? $2 billion for Spider-Man and that's it? Yes. But I got a theory on why they will lower the cost of the buyout and how they will make money forever after they sell him. Because they're going to take a percentage deal. God knows after I say this, a scooper is about to run with this and post it on their Patreon as an exclusive. But here's the reality of this, and it's going to be like other deals that have been struck. Sony will offer to sell Spider-Man for a cheap price. Maybe $1 billion or $2 billion, but they will demand something else. For the rest of time, a percentage of everything that Spider-Man makes at the box office of everything he's in. So, whenever a live-action Spider-Man appears in something, they want a cut of that. Maybe even merchandise. And let's say that they negotiate even something like 2%. You need to understand how massive that is for doing nothing and making money. So think about this. If a Spider-Man film goes out there and makes $1 billion, Sony would make 2% of that by doing nothing. This goes back to the old Alec Guinness Star Wars. He agreed to be in A New Hope and sequels if they bring him back, but he wanted a small percentage of the back end. So they gave it to him of everything that, he was in and what they're making. By the time Alec Guinness passed away, from just the Star Wars royalties, he made over $850 million for playing Obi-Wan because of the small little back-end deal. Spider-Man will make money for the rest of time. Sony could take a 1% cut of everything Spider-Man is in from Disney, and they will make millions of dollars per year. And that, I believe, is the key to this deal and why we're hearing that Sony wants something. Because then, when Sony gets bought out, when something happens, they still get the money. And this reminds me of Universal. Marvel still gets money from Universal. Do you guys know that? Not a lot of people realize that. But they get a small percentage of everything Marvel Universal from the theme park. And it's all in the old contract. And it's going to be like that forever. Unless Universal gives up those rights, which chances are they're not going to because they make them money. So I truly do believe that Sony is going to offer Disney a way to acquire Spider-Man. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's cheap. There's even a part of me that thinks they could ask for zero money. Literally zero. We'll give Spider-Man back to you. But give us 4%. In the end, in 10 years, they will have made more than any type of monetary sum. Because that's how the deal will work. And Disney will see that as a minor write-off every single year, than one lump sum to their rival. It's literally a win-win for every single party involved. Thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will, and if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.